The 5th Special Air Service, a 5th Shash, was an elite airborne unit during World War II, consisting entirely of Belgian volunteers. It saw action as part of the SAS Brigade in Normandy, northern France, Belgium, the Netherlands and Germany. Initially trained in sabotage and intelligence gathering, they converted to motorized reconnaissance on armoured jeeps. They were noted for being the first Allied unit to set foot onto Belgian soil and the first to cross the Siegfried line. This latter feat, although was merely accomplished by accident. History. A Belgian independent parachute company was officially installed at in Malvern-Wells on 8 May 1942 by Henry Rollin, the then Belgian Under-Secretary for Defence. It comprised the following: her company's 2nd Battalion Belgian Fusiliers, a battalion mainly made up of Belgian volunteers from South and North America assembled since January 1941, who moved to Great Britain in June 1941. A company as a whole had volunteered in February 1942 to train on the lines of an independent parachute company under Lt. Freddie Limbosch's chief instructor. A platoon of the 1st Battalion Belgian Fusiliers with some qualified parachutists, the volunteers from other units of the Belgian forces who had escaped from occupied Belgium via France, Spain and Gibraltar. The newly formed company continued to train as an independent parachute company, making extensive use of the many schools and training facilities offered by the British. The unit was attached for 3 months to the 8th Parachute Battalion of the 6th Airborne Division in 1943, then spent a month intensive training in December 1943 at the Allied Training Centre in Vallochy Castle, and finally moved in February 1944 to Loudon Castle Camp near Galston to join the Special Air Service Brigade. Like all military units and formations, the men came from all walks of life, and this was especially true with this particular unit. The volunteers included a former world cycling champion, lawyers, farmers, laborers, lumberjacks, a circus acrobat, a professional wrestler, and even 3 bona fide barons. The commanding officer himself was both a qualified engineer and dentist. The men who volunteered came from all 4 corners of the world to carry on the fight against the Nazis. Not all of them could even speak the same language. Some spoke French, some spoke Dutch, while others spoke only English. These differences of upbringing, class, lifestyle and even language might have seemed problematic, but a real esprit de corps developed quickly within the unit. The role of the Belgian Shash parachutists during the Second World War was primarily sabotage, intelligence gathering and reconnaissance. The Ments, or the first action, towards the end of July 1944 in France. During the Ardennes offensive in 1944, the unit was regrouped and equipped with armoured jeeps. As a reconnaissance squadron, they executed security and reconnaissance missions in order to support the 6th British Airborne Division. They did so during the tough fighting during the Battle of Bure. In 1945 they were used for counter-intelligence work, which involved the location and arrest of top-ranking Nazis and war criminals. In the beginning of April 1945, the Belgian Shash Squadron consisted of 3 reconnaissance squads which were deployed in the north of Holland and in Germany. After the capitulation of the Germans on 8 May 1945, the Belgian Shash participated in counter-intelligence missions in both Germany and Denmark. At the end of the war, the Belgian Shash Regiment had much to be proud of. They had been the first Allied unit to set foot in Belgium and Germany, and the only Belgian unit permanently on active deployment between July 1944 and May 1945. They had also been responsible for the capture of Admiral Dönnitz's government in Flensburg and the German Foreign Minister, Ribbentrop Insignia. The cap badge is a downward-pointing flaming sword worked in cloth of a crusader shield. It was designed by Corporal Robert Tate, MM and Bar, of the London Scottish, following the usual British Army practice of holding a competition to design the cap badge for a new unit. The competition was held after the close of Operation Crusader. The motto is "Who dares, wins." It was approved by the first commanding officer David Stirling, with the proposed wording "Dissented defend" or "Strike and destroy" disallowed. The sword depicted is King Arthur's Excalibur. Erroneous references to it as the Sword of Damocles derive from an article originally published in the regimental journal Mars and Minerva, written by a respected veteran of both British regiments and the post-war re-raised regiment. The author was subsequently proved to be incorrect, but the story has been repeated by others. The Maroon Beret. The Shash pattern parachute wings were designed by Lieutenant Jock Lewis and based on the basic British Army design approved in 1940 but modified to reflect the Middle East origins of the new unit by the substitution of the stylized sacred ibis wings of Isis of Egyptian iconography depicted in the Acute Cor of Shepherd's Hotel in Cairo. Disbandment. On 21 September 1945, 5th Shash was transferred from the British Army to the newly reformed Belgian Army. Renamed the 1st Regiment of Parachutists, they served independently as a highly mobile airborne unit until 1952, when the regiment joined with the Commando Regiment to form a battalion of the Para-Commando Regiment. From 1952 on, the traditions of 5th Shash were continued by 1st Parachute Battalion of the Para-Commando Regiment. Amid defense cuts and reorganization to the Belgian Army, in 2011, Para was disbanded after 59 years of continuous service. In December 2010, the unit's banner, flag and insignia were officially handed over to the newly formed Special Forces Group. Bibliography.